Whoosh! We're going to give you a little catch up on Graham Salmon. So, this is Graham, a blind athlete who regarded himself as an athlete who happened to be blind, not a blind athlete. And in 1983 or so, my youth theatre in Epping put on the most amazing production of Race to be Seen, which went to the Edinburgh Festival. And in the evening news was the final new entry in our guide to the best of the Fringe. What an amazing achievement for our first visit. It became my first published book. There it is, from Longmans for students. And then Graham, after I did that, became the first blind athlete to hit a hole-in-one in golf. What an incredible achievement. Sadly, tragedy came and he passed away after having had a cancer that had caused his blindness that went into his leg. I'm again going to read this thing. The Telegraph sports editor compares him to I enjoyed the rare privilege of Muhammad Ali, Stanley Matthews, Gary Sobers, Arnold Parner and countless others in the course of my job. But he said Graham is the most inspiring athlete I ever met, and that's the list. As a result of that, I wrote this new version which told my story of knowing Graham the man as opposed to the athlete, who'd become my best friend and my best man, my children's godparents, parent. He just a wonderful guy. That production was then put on in a shortened form at the Leatherhead Drama Festival by the Thurfield School. I saw it and it inspired me to do a production the following year with my school, Oaklands, wonderful Oaklands. I didn't realise at the time this was going to be my last major production with Oaklands Youth Theatre, because Oaklands was due to be taken over. More of that in a future episode. And the thing that had inspired me to do it was this young man. A guy called Simon Froud. He was an actor in one of my Year 11 drama groups, and they selected to do Graham as their play, and he took on the role of me. And I thought, this guy has exceptional ability to be able to tell the story in a really unique way that is engaging for the audience, and I always felt it was a bit narratory. One of his best friends was Michael Mears, who is there. I cast him to play Graham. We had such a strong group at Oakland's Youth Theatre performing it, and we were reviewed in our local newspaper after the first performances. The symbolism in the imaginative use of the white sticks, so we use white sticks to do everything. The multimedia work of Danny Sturrock. Danny, he produced, used the slides of Graham's life, and he also wrote music, adapting and kind of reworking the music I'd written for the Epping Youth Theatre production. Aided by the technical expertise of the backstage team, made this an event to remember. It certainly was. Michael Mears' Graham skillfully took us from Graham as a baby, he literally played him as a baby, through the various stages of his life. And here Simon gets applauded. As a narrator, Simon Froud expressed a range of emotions commensurate with the phases of Graham's life. The play gave all 11 cast members an opportunity to excel in a variety of situations, which they did most successfully. This was great, but one of Graham's nieces wrote this letter to me, a message on Facebook. I was overwhelmed by the production last night. She'd seen it back in Epping. Seeing footage of Graham and hearing his voice brought memories flooding back, and especially hearing Bernadette Chapman from Epping Youth Theatre sing on the newly remixed songs. It was such a huge thing for me at the time of the OYT production. Emma loved the production, but she was very emotional about it. Lovely to have that reaction from the family. Set us up beautifully to go to the Totton Drama Festival, where we had a review by John Sowen, I think it says. Full of lively humour, great for a Wheeler play. No, often they're full of lively tragedy. A great set with the projection at the back. Costumes were excellent. Cat Chivers again. Collaboration. Cat, Danny, all these people. I especially like the a cappella singing, thank you Daisy, that's my daughter, and the use of projection really enhanced this production. The use of the white sticks, making them into shapes of the action, really worked well with this talented cast. Talks about the production. What a fantastic start to the production, giving it the energy it needed. Changes to the pictures throughout the production enhanced this play enormously. The physicality, so we did body props again. The physicality of the riding of the bikes was great, and you certainly had faith in your cast to pull this off. Of course. It was good to see that the cast used the whole area, especially in the swimming scene. I remember that. A lovely little comic touch as Graham had barely swum a length when everybody else had swum about 40. Lovely phrase. This is a top phrase from an adjudicator. The dog shagging scene was also cleverly done and not at all smutty. Great. I think Charlie got an award for this as well. The play came to a beautiful ending which left a tear in our eye, and it certainly did. It was just one of those wonderful evenings. Graham, Michael, you had a tenderness in your speech which I was looking for. You delivered your lines with conviction and honesty, an intelligent performance. And I actually believed you were blind. Mike worked loads on the blindness thing and was absolutely committed to that. I remember him saying it, one of the most difficult things he had to do at home was pouring a drink. Really amazing, pouring a hot drink and figuring out when it had reached the top. He did lots of stuff blindfold at home. Mark, played by Simon Froud, you're a wonderful actor. Your storytelling skills were good and very sincere in the delivering of your lines. Louise Costin, Mari, what a lovely interpretation of the part, sincere and truthful. I love the way you looked at Graham and how you helped him through his life. Lots of positive comments for all the cast. And then at the end, in summary, there was not one member of the cast that I felt was out of place in this wonderful piece of theatre. This was a very intelligent interpretation of the script. Thank you. Absolutely amazing. And we got 87 marks. It's unheard of. We've never been above 84, I think. So 87. I won Best Director. I won't say too much about that. But when the final marks came in, we had won the festival. And the one sad thing about this is we won against my good friend Danny, who had put on his own production, which was amazing. It's now called Surfing on Suicide, but suicide.com, I think he might be planning to revisit this play and do it again. And he came second with 81 points. Very often the second team go through. His was a stunning production, and if you get a chance to look at suicide.com or Surfing on Suicide, do. It's a wonderful, wonderful play about a young lad who committed suicide online. Tragic story. And we were quite surprised that we'd managed to eclipse that. We won for the first time ever at the Tottenham Drama Festival. What an achievement, and I love that because now, in all future things, we appear as previous winners. So there we are in the following year's programme. Oakland's Youth Theatre, Graham, World's Fastest Blind Runner. Just as Oakland's was about to close down, we went through to the semi-final. Amazing. Fantastic review again, this time from Chris Jager. Thanks, Chris. The way those white sticks were used as props was really impressive and imaginative. A golf club and various other pieces of sporting equipment, a counter, a barrier, strong sunshine. Yeah, great. We used those sticks to create sunshine on a scene where it was needed, and many more. It shows how you can stretch an audience's imagination with very simple themes. The costumes were simple. Do you remember we stole that from the Thurfield production, and Kat put her own twist on it? Graham, the white for Graham was particularly effective. The slides were striking too, well displayed, and a lot of good work had gone into them. The video was good too. Thanks, Danny, well done. All of the audience both laughed and cried at some point during the play. I also felt the director had got the very best out of these young actors, both individually in terms of the ensemble work. The movement was one of the strongest elements of the staging. We were so pleased about that. And remember, before we were criticised for our diction. No one mentioned the diction. Brilliant. So much worked so well. The slow motion section, the soldiers, the office, the telephone scene, the hit and run accident, the toilet brush joke, the swimming, the rain, and the awesome copulating dogs. And I think this is where Charlie got Charlie and Matt got the award. Were all well done and made a huge contribution to the professionalism of the piece. is there a comment I was going to say at the end? Yeah, as already mentioned, the two dogs was a great highlight, and the handshake at the end, just a masterful touch. I think I've got a little picture of that. I too enjoyed the rain scene, really enjoyable. Enthusiasm by the squirter. This is where I arrived at Graham late in pouring rain, and someone hurled a cup of water over me. It was just a lovely stylistic way. A delightful performance with strong chorus work, good discipline, and an innovative grouping and choreography. And we got through to the English final. Finally, OYT, we're in the English final. Absolutely wonderful. Here's Mike and Matt and Charlie in the copulating dog scene, and you can see the white sticks that we use to create various different things in the background there. Here's that amazing handshake at the end of the copulating dog scene, and you can see a little football there. That's Graham's football that he bequeathed to Charlie, because Charlie was the last person who ever played football with him. And there's a scene at the end, Graham jubilant, as we were, going through to the final of the All England Theatre Festival, and that's all the group you can see, and such a strong group. Gemma, who worked so well on so many productions as well, just amazing. And we were off to Grays, the worst town in the world, to perform our performance at the English finals. And there we are, that's the final. We had the most amazing time. We did a fantastic performance. We were well reviewed. We didn't win. It certainly spurred us on. And we were just so pleased that we weren't being picked up for our diction. And OYT, which by the time we got to the final, we knew Oakland's was on the way out. And there were even questions about whether the youth theatre would continue. And we'd managed to kind of really put down our mark. And as a result of this, DBDA wonderfully published the final version of Graham, World's Fastest Blind Runner, the version that we'd performed at the final, with all the cuts, all the edits, all the improvements. And then Edexcel finally, just to close matters, asked me, and you'll notice Johnny Carrington, who was also at our school, and Danny Sturrock, to write a teacher's book and a student's book. And the scheme of work was on Graham, World's Fastest Blind Runner. And it goes on, the play goes on, it's still performed, it's lovely. If it's performed nearby, I always try to see it. It remains very close to my heart as a very important play about a wonderful man whose story just deserves to be told. I will come back to it whenever I can, and there's going to be some news about it in the future, which I really look forward to telling you.